Hey everybody, so I recently read a book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and he talks about negative thoughts within his book, and there was three that really hit me, and I think that many people struggle with this, and that's the fear of failure, doubt of success, and indecisiveness of action. Now, he says that these transform into weakness, timidness, and irresolution, and can crystallize into things like setbacks, struggles, and cycles of dependency. So, I kind of wanted to go over in using YouTube as the, metaphor for how these things kind of play out in my life and how I kind of move past them. So I'm going to just get right into it with fear of failure. For me, oftentimes, fear of failure almost always means that I'm fearing that I'm going to spend a bunch of time doing something and I'm going to receive nothing in return. Now, this is almost always delusional in a sense that almost anything that we do, we're going to get something back out of it. So with the example of YouTube, I have had this fear of failure that I'm going to spend a year, 2 years, 3 years, and I'm not going to be able to monetize the channel. I'm not going to be able to earn money, and I'm not going to be able to do a lot of those things. But that's completely ignoring the fact that if I post for 2 years, and even if I don't monetize the channel, I will have learned so many skills. Before I have been doing this, I was doing social media, and one of the things in social media that I wasn't able to do was videos, and I also had a hard time talking to people, as well as just coming up with simple descriptions and scripts and things like that. Well, obviously with YouTube, I've almost completely gotten rid of a lot of those different fears and insecurities. So it has developed so many other skills that in 1, 2, 3 years, even if this channel doesn't succeed, I will have learned enough to be able to go back into the social media world and give so much more, and also therefore earn so much more because of it. And that doesn't even include many things that I don't even know that I'm learning right now. And it can be as simple as I've learned how to garden, I've learned how to make microgreens, I've learned how to do so many things just because of this channel that I would never have done without it. So, feeling the fear of failure, that you're spending too much time and receiving nothing, maybe think about other skills and traits that you're learning that will make a big difference. Now, onto the doubt of success. For me, when I'm feeling doubts of success, it usually means that my metric for what success is wrong. And so what will happen is, like with YouTube, I will start to think like my metric of success is followers, likes, and monetization. And when I start to do these things, I start to do things like feel timid and become unconfident and not be able to talk to the camera properly, or even just like not even post. And so when I'm kind of getting into that zone, I have to remember to rewrite what success means for me. And since the beginning, although sometimes I lose it, success for me has been if I post once a week for a year, I will have succeeded. This has created many small wins for me throughout the last 5 months of posting. And so as I can look back from week to week, month to month, and now 5 months, I can see that I've posted every single week and sometimes more than that. And that continues to give me momentum as I continue on. So every single time I've ever made it to an external validation, such as views and things that I cannot control, almost always it turns into the opposite of what I want. So I start to focus on the financial aspect, and all of these other qualities that I have go down. But if I return it back into that internal, the things that I can control, which is quantity and quality, when I focus on those other metrics of success seem to go up. People seem to watch the videos more, and they seem to interact more. And so it's almost double the reason to not focus on those external metrics of success and instead focus on the internal. Now, finally is indecisiveness of action. So for me, what this usually means if I'm feeling indecisive is that I do not have a clear idea of my goals and the direction that I'm going in. And so this actually happened to me recently, and what I did was I wrote down my 5-year plan. Like, what would the perfect life in 5 years be? Where do I want to be? And then what I did is I took YouTube and I said, how would YouTube help me get there? And as I started to fill it out, I started to remember and realize all of the reasons I started a YouTube channel in the first place. And it also allowed me to sit back and be like, okay, I do not have to succeed right now or this month, this next few months. If I didn't succeed until 4 years from now, I would still be able to get to and live the life that I want in 5 years. And so it reminded me of like, okay, there are some things that are painful now, but what am I willing to go through for a year or two in order to, in 5 years, have that? And it just kind of put it all into perspective, and it made me sit back and go, okay, I do not need to earn money right now. My focus is quality and quantity. And even if I get to 3 years, 4 years, like I said earlier, even if I haven't monetized this channel, I will actually still get to where I want to be in 5 years, just because I've made myself so much more valuable in that time. The second thing with indecisiveness of action, though, that I wanted to talk about was little things like coming up with, for me, coming up with ideas for YouTube videos, coming up with outlines, and even the scripts themselves. If I'm not feeling clear on what my ideas are, if I'm not feeling clear on what my script is, then oftentimes it will lead to indecisive action, leading to irresolution, and those are not things that I want. So what I do, and I will just like sit there for days and I will be thinking of all of these ideas. I'll be constantly working, and yet nothing is getting done. And so what I always have to remember is to instead go, okay, ideas. I need ideas because I'm not feeling clear on my ideas. So I sit down and I actually write down 10, 20, 30, however many ideas. And then I take those and I build a few outlines of videos that I would truly want to make after just the brainstorming process. And then I turn one of those into a true script. And what I've been doing recently even is taking a step further and then talking to people about that script and just vocalizing it so that when I get down to here and I sit down and I'm talking to you guys, I can vocalize it in a way that is going to be received the best, that makes the most sense and is kind of categorically makes sense. So oftentimes it can be the indecision, oftentimes it can be the lack of clarity in our long-term goals and understanding of them, but as well as just these like short little small things like having clear ideas, having clear scripts. So those are the main things that I wanted to talk about today. So escaping the negative thoughts of fear of failure, doubt of success, and indecisiveness of action can be really simple. For me, fear of failure means that I'm scared of spending too much time on something and not getting anything out of it. But as we talked about, that can be very delusional in our thinking. Number 2, doubts of success. For me, it means rewriting what success means and changing it into an internal locus of control instead of an external. And finally, indecisiveness of action is getting really clear on where we want to go and why we want to go there. By addressing these negative habits, you can pave the way to growth, resilience, and fulfillment instead of weakness, timidness, and irresolution. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like and a follow, and we'll see you next time.